Hi everyone, and we're live. Let's see, is everything working? We have a camera, sound looks good. Let me know if you can hear me. Hi everyone, welcome to the final live video for the Between the Lines Quilt Along. My name is Irene, welcome to the Shubidoo Studio. Today we will be talking about this little block over here, Flower Power. That is the final row of our Between the Lines quilt along. Sana says, oh, good. Yay. Wonderful. I already saw that people were waiting for the live to go live. So welcome everybody. I see Kim and Rebecca. Excited to be here. Yes, me too, Rebecca. I am excited. And well, yes, excited. It is our final live video. So it's the final video for the Between the Lines quilt along. The quilt along is not completely finished because I will also talk you through finishing the quilt, putting it together. But we will be doing that in the blog posts. So there's not going to be a live video for that. So let's enjoy this final one. There's Justine and Willie and Sana and Linda. Hi everyone from the Netherlands and Canada, New York. Hi Cheryl. Wow, wonderful to have you here. And I already saw quite some new rows popping up on Instagram. So people are still sewing along and creating those rows for the Between the Line quilt along. So it's no problem if you are not completely caught up yet. You still have some time. I think I'm going to start with some general announcements. One is about the giveaway. So there's a pretty big giveaway. Bernina is going to give away 3 sewing machines. And that giveaway is at the end of assembling our quilt top. So last Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, yes, Thursday, the latest pattern was published. So the pattern for this row for Flower Power. And that means we have 4 weeks to sew on that. And then I'm going to share the instructions of assembling the quilt top. And then you have 4 weeks after that to assemble the quilt top and get ready to enter for the giveaway. So if you still have some rows to do to catch up, just go ahead and make them, because then you can enter the giveaway. And for the giveaway, you don't need a quilted quilt. You just need your completed quilt top. So if you have no clue yet on how to quilt it, or don't know if you're going to do it yourself or a long armor, that's no problem. You just need to assemble the quilt top. And even if you want to do that in 2 pieces because you want to quilt it yourself and want to quilt it in 2 goes, that's all fine. Then you can just share a picture of those 2 parts of the quilt top. So about 8 weeks until the deadline for the quilt along. So in the next blog post, then I will also share all the information and the rules that Bernina said for the giveaway. But this is the general guideline for that. So you need to finish the rows and assemble them in about 8 weeks from now. Let's see, everybody popping in. Wonderful. Hi there, Tina again, Nancy and Jenny, Amanda. Hi there from New York, snowy New York. That is lovely. It's cold over here, but it's not really snowy. Sylvie says, such cute beanies behind. Yes, that is a project that I'm working on at the moment. These are the new quilt along that I'm going to do for Easter. Super cute. I just shared about it in my newsletter, and I'm about to share more on my Instagram. So if you're curious, just take a look at my Instagram after the live. Because we are just assembling kits. My mom was helping me in the studio today, so the whole table is full with fabrics that we're cutting. Just wanted to share this with you because I'm very excited about it. So these bunnies behind me are made with the Robo Boogie fabrics. And there is also a kit available with Happy Note fabric. So then you're going to make the bunnies with this background and these colors. I think that's going to look so cool. So already quite some kits were ordered. So we're going to assemble these, and they will be shipping in February. And then we will have 4 weeks to sew together so we can finish all these bunnies and the quilt before Easter. It's going to be so much fun. Yes, so, but we're going to talk about flower power. I decided to do this row on paper so that I did not have to trace so many things on tea-bag paper. So I just printed it on normal printing paper. And you could also use freezer paper for this one. But since with the assembly, it's nice to have those points really matching, I always find it a little bit more tricky with freezer paper because you peel away the paper before you sew them together. So that is why for this one, I chose normal paper. So then when you sew with a short stitch length, then you can also easily rip away your paper. These pieces are not that tiny, and the sections are quite small, so that makes it easier to rip away paper so that you don't have all those built-in pieces in the middle. I always think that's more difficult to rip away the paper then, but with sections like this, it's big pieces of paper. So this felt like a good option for me to sew this. So let's see. I am going to skip today the sewing the fabric pieces to the paper because we've done the foundation paper piecing technique quite a few times now. So I'm confident that you are confident enough to sew together the sections or create the sections. So what I'm going to show you is how I trim the edges on this one, and then how I sew together the sections and make sure that those points are nicely matching. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, and I can talk about it after the little demonstration that I'm going to give you. So let's flip the camera and show you how we're going to assemble this quilt block. There we go. Let's bring this a little bit higher up. Oh, I didn't put up my light and it's getting a little bit dark already. I think we can manage. We already had the day with the least daylight in December, so it's getting better every day. Longer days, more daylight. There we go. All good? Yes, all good. One thing I noticed, I'm sorry for that, is it could be a little bit confusing. Is that here we have, I already mixed it up myself, so that is why I noticed that it can be confusing. So the row consists of a few complete blocks like this. So that would make this block, and 2 half blocks like this. But I did not begin numbering. The numbering is the same. So as you can see here, we have a section A, and here we also have a section A. So if you're going to make this, it's the easiest to just make and print out the half blocks, well, first or last, and then when you completed them, then do the complete block, because, well, I printed out all my sections and, well, they are kind of all over, and I noticed that this section probably had to be here because you have A, B, C, D, but I brought in the section B to here. Luckily, it's the same section, but a little bit confusing maybe. Sorry for that. But the sections are exactly the same size, and so that will turn out just fine. But just to keep it less confusing, you can maybe first make the halves and then the whole ones. Natalie says, this one is a bit overwhelming for me. Good that you say that, because then I can maybe give a few tips and tricks on that. So it might look overwhelming because there are a lot of sections. Is that what overwhelms you, do you think? Or is there a different part? And Sophie says, I wrote outside block on the printout. Yes, that is a great idea. So that you, after printing, you mark it that this is the outside half block and this is the whole block. That also helps. So if you think it's confusing, what helps is not to do what I did. So I printed out everything I needed. I cut it up. I just stacked it up in one bunch, and I already cut out some of the fabric pieces. Then you have a whole mess of things. But it's a little bit unfair because I also designed the block and already made a few of these. And so for me, it's easier to have this mess and then create all the sections from that. When it would confuse you, I would suggest go block by block and section by section, because let's take away some of this. So if you would just print out one block, cut out one section, and just look at it as one section that you need to make, then it's a way smaller project, and then it's not that. Then this is not so much easy, not so much more difficult than what we did in other rows of the quilt along. But maybe a whole lot of these sections together look confusing, and I can really understand that. So maybe it's a good idea to just then go slow, pick one section that you want to make, and then make it. So after this, you make a section. I would trim off the edges. So let me show you how I do that for this one. So I'm first going to trim off this side. So I finished all the sewing. And now I need to trim it because we're still rough on the outsides. And then I will put my ruler on the side over here with the 1/4 inch line there. And then I can trim this side. There we go. Let's do that for the bottom as well. There we go. And then on this side. And now we need to do the top. And what I like to do there, because there's just a tiny bit of space here to line up your ruler with, I like to put a 1/4 inch marking over there, and to make sure that the ruler is straight, I'm also just going to check some lines on this line over here because they are parallel. So I line up that 1/4 inch mark over there and then check on this line if my ruler is straight so it's not misaligned. There we go. And then I trim off this little piece over there. Then we have a nicely trimmed section. And this is one of the sections from the block. It's actually this one on the bottom. So if it looks like a overwhelming project, I would for sure go section by section. And then now we have made section A. So that's going to be here. Let's see. Which one do we have over here? We have a section C. That's going to be over there. So also section C, when you just look at one section, this is not, it's 5 pieces of fabric. So that you can do it for sure. And just look at it as that this is your project, the focus. So section C is what you need to make next. And when section C is finished, then you trim it. There we go. Trimming off the edges. And then you might want to make all 6 sections of one block first. And then after that is done, you're going to puzzle it together and take your time for that. I'm going to show you how I puzzle mine together. So here we have section A. And when you have the pattern with the letters faced up, it's a little bit easier to see where they need to go. So we have a bottom half and we have a top half. And let's see if I can find the correct sections here so I can show you the puzzle. Maybe that also helps. This is a G, B, A. We already had that one. Where are my papers? D. Here we have E and F. E and F. Oh, damn. B is not the correct one. We need a different one for that. You see, you should not let it get this messy. But my plan with this is always to just print out and make all the sections, and then after that I puzzle it. But now you see the numbering is not, this is from the outside block. There it is. This is the correct way you should have it. So how the block comes together, it actually goes together in two parts. So we have 6 sections. And when you finish them, it's best to just lay it out on the table. And what helps is that all the letters should go right side up. So if you have a section like this over here, then the letters are not right side up. So you know already that those are not in the correct position. So you can also check the block to see where they go. And the lower half is a little bit smaller than this one. So if we put it next to each other, you can see it. So the top layer is a little bit bigger because it has that extra piece of fabric here, E6 and D6. So what you're going to do is first sew together the bottom half and then sew together the top half. And after you do that, you can join these two together. So here we have the bottom half that you're going to sew. And here you have the top half that you're going to sew. And as you can see, that has that extra white piece. And when these sections are done, then you have 2 lovely rectangles that you can join together. So that is actually really nice. So I think the most difficult part of this is joining these sections together because you have that angled line over here between the sections. So what I would love to show you is how I sew these together. Because when you've sewn these together, then you have 2 halves, and then you can sew together those rectangles. Let's see, how do we sew these 2 together? So also, when you're going to sew the sections together, make sure you just have the 2 sections you want to focus on, and you've checked that these are the 2 you need to join. Put everything else away so that you're not going to get confused and sew together the wrong pieces. Okay, let's see. We're going to sew this together. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark this corner and this point over here, and also this corner and this point over here. Let's start by putting in a pin in this point. Then I want to place it over here. So I am going to put it through the corner over there. And just going to leave the pin like that. And on this side, I'm doing that as well. So I'm going to pin it in this corner and pinning through that point on the other side. And that marks both points. And what this helps with is that when you align these sections, that you don't have to worry about how should I position them on top of each other. You know now that these reference points are correct, so the points match, and then you can take hold of that and pin it. because guessing where these pieces should lay on top of each other is quite difficult to get it exactly right. So then I can take out those other pieces, because as you can see, the bottom section is sticking out a little bit over here. But without using these pins, you never know exactly how much that should be sticking out. So now I have nicely pinned it, and I will sew over this line. There we go. So I will sew over that line. I'm going to use a small stitch length, because then it's easy to rip away my paper afterwards. And I'm just going to sew over the black line. So after sewing two sections together, I like to first check if I did a good job. You never know. Just open it up and see what that looks like. I think that looks good. On the back, both letters are right way up. So that's good. And this also looks good. This line is at the same level. So that looks nice. And then what I want to do is rip away the paper that is in the seam, because after I press the seam open, it's really difficult to get rid of the paper that was in the seam. So I'm going to rip away this paper, and then I can fold it open and press open my fabric. And this is the reason why I like to use a printed or tea bag paper version for this pattern and not the freezer paper, because, well, it's easier that you still have these reference points to join your sections together. So let's see, we're going to give this a press. Maybe I should also take that away already. There we go. Let's give it a press. Then we have two sections joined. Let's see if that matches what we're going to make. It really matches this nicely. So that are the first two sections that you're going to sew together for this block. So then you need to add this section, and then you have already a beautiful rectangle, which is easier to attach to that one. I'm just going to look in the comments real quick to see what there is. Jane says, still haven't done any curves. Oh, you still have some time to do it, Jane. Maybe a deadline is good, so then you can finish it in time for the giveaway. One at a time. Yes, that is lovely, one at a time. Can you give the layout again? What pieces are on top and what are those letters? What are the bottom three pieces? Yes, I get your question. It's not making sense, especially with the lower pieces being smaller. Yes, what I'm going to do is just go to the Bernina blog, because then we have the image. Let's see. That is probably clearer, more clear. Yes. So here we have, this image is on the blog, and here you have a BC, and what this represents is the block from this side. So when you look at the fabric side of the block, so you see where C is over there, and A is in the middle. So when I flip my block around, you see A in the middle and C on the right side. That is because it's on the back. So section C is going to end up on the left side, but when you look at it on the back, it's on the right side. So A, B, C are going to go in the bottom, and D, E, F, the sections that have that little extra white piece over there, those are going to be in the top. So first you sew A, B, C together, where I just showed you how to do A and C, and B is going to go in the exact same way. And then you join E, F, D, and then you have 2 rectangles. So I think it also, yes, it's also showing here. So here I just joined B and A together first, and then you join these 3 together and these top 3, and then you can join them all together and put it on Pinterest. Yeah, so this is a good one to look at, or maybe print out even and put on your table beside you. And just remember that C is then, it looks from the fabric side, it looks on the left. When you turn it with the paper side, it looks on the right. So I think that helps. Hope that helps. But yes, the top part is a little bit bigger than the small one. But you won't notice that when you sew together the rectangles. Like here, the top rectangle is a little bit bigger, but that's no problem when you join those 2 together. So I hope that helps. Let's see what else there is. Looks good. Going to remember to pin the points. Yes, and that's just some practice, pinning those points, but it really helps to do that. Oh, and Willie finished the advent calendar. Oh, that's also lovely. And some 4 rows. Yeah, that is going to be, well, there is still some time. If you can do a row every 2 weeks, then you could still manage to finish it. Yes, so this is a side block. That also is kind of the same as the whole block, but then with 4 sections. So let me see if we have that image over here as well. Yes, here we have that image. So with the side blocks, you have also a bottom layer and a top layer. And the bottom layer is smaller and the top layer a little bit bigger. And you first join the bottom sections and the top sections. And then you can join those 2 together. So that's going to be in the same way. Yeah, so and with all the sections, I love to rip away that part of the seam. And after that, you can press it open. And when you join everything together, you can just rip it away because then you have a nicely rectangle for the sides and a square block for the middle. So as you can see over here in the block that is finished, all the papers are ripped out already and it's nice and square. So when you're going to join these blocks together, you just want to try to match the points over here and over here. But if they're not matching exactly, that is totally fine. It's a quilt, it's handwork, so that's all fine. But that is when you join the blocks, you just sew block to block to block, and then you try to match the points over here. Yeah, so that is the flower power block. I am going to flip my camera. There we go. Cindy says, I really like the block. Oh, thanks. There is going to be a little bonus in 2 weeks, and that bonus is also with this one. So that's going to be the 3rd bonus project of the quilt along. But feel free to skip that if you just want to continue to finish the quilt first. Yeah, that's going to be a little project with this design. I think it's a really fun block, but also challenging, and that's why we saved it for last, because this block has a lot of pieces. But when you take it section by section, I'm sure you can do it. And yeah, don't get overwhelmed by the mess that I created. It's just how my brain works and likes to work. And at the end, most of the times it works out. Yeah, so let's see. Was there something else that I wanted to share? Well, yes, I also wanted to share what kind of blog post that there will be coming. So now we have this row, and the next blog post, well, in 2 weeks will be about this project. And then 2 weeks from that will be about assembling the quilt. And we're going to chat on, well, I'm going to chat on the blog about what to do when your rows aren't the same length, how you can fix it when it's too short or too long. What to do, because every row has a different type of pattern and they all should kind of be the same length, but completely understandable if that's not the case. It's also not the case for all my rows, and that's no problem. We're going to fix that. So I'll go and chat about that in that blog post. And then it's also the announcement of the giveaway. And then 4 weeks after that, then I'm going to talk about ways to quilt the quilt. Different ways to quilt the quilt. I quilted my initial quilt for the Between the Lines Quilt Along with a little grid, but of course there are different options to quilt it. So I'm going to discuss that on the blog as well. And then 4 weeks from that, I'm going to do a blog post about the binding. So if you've never done a quilt binding before, then that's a good one to check out. I will post some links to videos and talk about how I like to do the binding and how I did it for this quilt. Yeah. Thanks, Justine. Justine says great tips. Thank you. Yes, I hope this helps. And if there are still questions also on the other topics when we don't have live videos, please feel free to reach out on the blog or through email. I'm happy to help. So also in the Facebook group, I know I haven't been around there, but there are lovely moderators keeping everything going there and wonderful quilters to help you. So if you have a question in the Should We Do Facebook group, there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of heavy quilters that love to help you as well with questions. So don't get stuck and ask for help when you are stuck so that you can complete the quilt. Let's see, did I miss a question from somebody? I don't think so. I think I've catched everything. Oh, Natalie says, I showed my 3 granddaughters all the rows I had done at Christmas and they were screaming with excitement. Oh, that makes me so happy. It was so beautiful. I'm telling everyone this because it's very motivating. It is. Oh, lovely. And I think that also happens in the Facebook group. Like everyone is proud for everyone, what you're accomplishing, what you're making. Oh, that's wonderful. It must be so exciting to have your granddaughters and share your quilting with them. That's lovely. Thank you for sharing. And good luck, everyone, with finishing the rows. And I hope to see you on the blog in 4 weeks when we're going to sew everything together. So that's it for today. Have a lovely weekend. And I hope you'll get some lovely quilting time. So thank you all for being here. And lovely. Rosanna says the rows are proudly displayed on my design wall. Yes, or maybe if you don't have it on your design wall, you don't have a design wall and you want some motivation, put them over a door that you go through often, or put them with some washi tape on a wall so you see them. That can even be encouraging to finish the other rows. So enjoy the rest of the quilt along, and I'll see you on the vlog. Bye, everyone.